Before I start this video, I just want to make it clear that I do not have a Telegram. I've never had a Telegram. I don't even like messaging people that I actually know, so I would never tell a bunch of strangers to text me. For future reference, official creator responses have a gray bar around the name, like this. Anyway, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all! Santa came in my chimney last night, and he brought me so many great gifts. Today I want to share with y'all some of my favorite things that I have for winter van life. Just a disclaimer, this is what works best for my situation. I live in the Arizona desert for winter, which is on purpose. I don't like cold. So obviously my winter essentials are going to be different than someone who is living van life in Michigan or Antarctica. My van doesn't really have insulation, and on top of that, it's all windows, so it isn't really well insulated in general. But I am able to keep very toasty in here with 5 things that help tremendously, and I'm going to share them with you right now. The very first thing that made a huge difference in my winter van life experience was buying a down comforter. This one right here. I put this off for so long because I assumed that all comforters were the same, and I already had one, so I thought I was doing just fine. But whenever I had my regular comforter and duvet, which I think was made out of down alternative, every night I slept in sweats, a long sleeve shirt, and fleece, and I was still cold. When my down comforter came in, I could not believe how warm I was. I had to take off my leggings, take off my sweater, because I was overheating. To this day, if I sleep in anything more than shorts and a t-shirt, I start sweating. Now granted, it has not gotten lower than the 30s here in the desert, but I still have to sleep in as minimal clothes as possible to stay comfortable at night, which I feel like is a good thing. This blanket traps every ounce of heat that my body puts off. It was so worth the investment, and honestly, it wasn't even as expensive as I thought. The next thing I invested in this winter was a wool blanket. It's this one here. Again, this was another blanket that I just ordered off of Amazon, but I would have never known about wool blankets until when winter first hit here and I was freezing, so I didn't have any winter gear, and somebody let me borrow their wool blanket. It made a huge difference as far as insulating my body. So when I gave the wool blanket back to my neighbor, I ordered my own, and now I keep it over my feet on top of my down comforter, and it keeps my feet very, very warm and toasty, which is a good thing because I absolutely cannot sleep with socks on no matter what the temperature is. So I've got double insulation down there, and it works beautifully. The absolute best investment I have made so far this winter, as far as heat goes, is my heater. The one that I use is this Kovea Cupid heater. It runs off of butane instead of propane, and to me, I just prefer using butane over propane. I don't know why, but propane has always seemed scary to me. It's also the perfect size for a minivan, which I have. I don't have a lot of space in here, so I need something that puts off enough heat to keep the van warm, but not so much heat that it's gonna melt everything in here. That was my experience with the Buddy heater. It worked really, really well, but it worked too well. My plastic power bank was extremely hot. My carpet that it was on top of was getting extremely hot. Even my blanket felt like it was gonna catch on fire. So I couldn't really run it consistently. I had to just run it for a few minutes and then turn it off because it got way too warm. And I didn't want anything to catch fire. I honestly feel like in this size van, I just don't have the floor space to give the Buddy heater the room that it needs. My Cupid heater puts out a steady amount of consistent heat, and it's the perfect temperature for this size van. I also bought a fireproof mat to keep it on, and I've had no issues at all. It works great. As far as how much butane it uses, it's hard to say because I don't use it consistently. I only use it for a little while before I go to bed, and I never sleep with my heater on. But from what I've heard from my neighbors, propane seems to burn just as fast with little greenie canisters, so I'm assuming it's comparable to any other gas heater that you would buy. I have no complaints at all. I get butane for about $2 a can in town, and it's totally worth it. I don't feel like I'm spending a ton of money on fuel, and I'm warm all the time. The only con of this heater is that all the instructions are in Korean, but it's really simple to use. You just put the gas canister in and turn it on until the ignition catches. Sometimes it doesn't, but once you do that, you're good to go. You have heat. My Cupid heater is hands down my favorite thing to keep me warm in my van. The fourth thing I use is kind of a bonus, but it really, really, really comes in handy. And that is my 12-volt heated blanket. I use my heated blanket for when it's chilly, but I don't want to turn my heater on just yet. I plug it in, let it warm up, and then I'll wrap myself in it and watch TV on my iPad before bed, or I will use it while I'm making tea in the mornings. It's nice to have as a backup just in case I ever run out of fuel. And it also makes it comfortable to lounge outside of bed when I don't want to be under my down blanket. And the fifth and final thing that keeps my van warm during winter, and probably the most important thing, is my window covers! Listen, if you have windows, you should have window covers. Curtains are great for providing privacy, maybe blocking out the sun, but they don't provide insulation. My window covers are from a company called Heat Shield, and I love them because they had window covers for my 32-year-old Stevie Ray van, which is amazing because the other big window cover company, WeatherTech, did not. Now, I did use WeatherTech when I lived in my car, and comparing the two window covers, the Heat Shield ones are definitely a lot thicker and sturdier. They're gold on the outside and then black on the inside, so during the winter, I put the black side facing out. That way it can absorb all the sunshine and sunlight in the morning and heat the van up a little bit before I wake up. There is definitely a huge difference in van temperature when these are on compared to when they're off, especially during very hot days and very cold days. They really just help keep the van temperature more stable, which is a must if you live inside of it. So those are 5 things that keep my van nice and warm during winter. I have a really simple build, so these are 5 simple things that work well for me. I have not had a single uncomfortable night yet, and I don't plan to. If you want to check out any of my winter essentials for yourself, I will link them in the description down below. And if you made it to the end, I would like to know what your favorite Christmas movie is. For me, I think that my favorite is A Christmas Story. It's just so timeless and I love the feel of the film. I'm also a huge fan of The Grinch. Hello, who doesn't love The Grinch? And also this movie called Simon Birch, which I feel like no one has seen, but I watch it every single winter, even though it hurts every time I do it. It's such a good film, and I feel like it's a really good movie to watch around Christmas, even though it's technically not a Christmas movie. So let me know your favorite, and if you've seen any of my favorites. I hope y'all have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And all the other holidays that are around this time, like Hanukkah and Chinese New Year and Valentine's Day. Be blessed and safe travels, y'all. And then just a quick little afterword for my subscribers. This is the last video that I'll be posting this year because next Sunday is January. I know, how freaking crazy is that? The year has gone by really slow and fast at the same time. But I just want to say how grateful I am for each and every one of you. It's really hard to say that without sounding corny, but I am so serious. Especially this year, y'all's support has meant everything to me. Because this year is ending a lot differently than how it started. And thank God, literally. Thank you, God. Y'all already know because I've talked about it and said it a bunch on my Patreon. I think I've said it in my videos too, that this whole year I've really felt like I was going through my Job phase. Job from the Bible. I felt like, especially at the beginning of there, I was just pushing and pushing and pushing this boulder up the mountain, and I was getting nowhere. I was having so many van issues. I was stuck in Arizona all summer and it was super hot. I was uncomfortable. Honestly, I just felt like shit was not working out. It was not working out at all. And I started to doubt myself and I wondered if I should even be doing this at all. But as the year comes to an end, I feel like my life has done a complete 180. Stevie Ray van is running beautifully. I have no more van issues. I'm in good health. I have a wonderful community in Quartzsite, and I have a wonderful community on YouTube here as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you so much for all of your support and sticking by me this year. Thank you for every kind comment. Thank you for all of your support. Thank you so much to my patrons on Patreon, everyone who watches, likes, subscribes. I literally would not be here without you guys. I love you all so much. Have the happiest holidays. I cannot wait to see what 2023 brings, and hopefully you'll stick around to see. Oh shit, is this thing on? I gotta sneeze. And that is my 12-volt heated blanket. I just killed my ex. I know that lady. And the fifth and final thing